Hello, coaching community, and welcome to a brand new week where we're going to talk today about a question that you should ask yourself to, stop the roller coaster of making the same mistakes and letting yourself down. And this has hit me smack bang right in the face this weekend a couple of times. So I think it's really important. And I like to share sort of how I navigate through life and the mistakes that I make, how I learn from them and move forward, and things like that. So I want to share with you sort of how this has affected me over the weekend and how important it is to ask this question of yourself as you, make mistakes, do the same thing sort of over and over again and expecting a different result. Like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. And you're in the same place, with your health and your weight and your business that you were 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 2 years ago. Nothing's changed. So if that's sort of where you're at with some things in your life, it's really important to evaluate that and ask yourself this question. Like I do this all the time to myself to help you move past it. So I hope you get something out of today's video. How are you all? Did you have a lovely weekend? We had a holiday weekend here in Australia, my part of Australia, and we went out to the farm. It was just lovely. Sometimes just to get, a change of scenery, good country fresh air, sitting around the campfire. The boys are riding their motorbikes. I just love it. A night or two away from just normal life is good for the soul, I think, to sort of recharge. So I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. If you're not familiar with my live videos, at the beginning of every week, I talk about something to do with personal growth and personal development. And that's what today is as well. So I'll get to that in a minute. If we haven't met before, my name's Helen Martin. I'm your online crew captain. So I am here for our online crew community of entrepreneurs, home-based business owners, direct sellers, social sellers, those in network marketing, etc. And if you want to learn to leverage modern social media skills and the internet to build your business online, then you're in the right place. But the way that I train and the way that I build is with complete integrity in being a human before a marketer. So if that's something that's important to you, then hopefully you'll love my training. So how are you guys? If you're joining me live, please say hello. What's happening in your part of the world? Hello, Miss Beth. Good to see you on live. We've got Susan. Hello. Great to see you here. Facebook user, whoever you are. Hello. Hello, Tonya. Great to see you here. Yvette. We've got Laurie. We've got Cherie. Yeah, it is really good for the soul. We're pretty lucky in that the farm is only like 15 Ks out the back road. Like at the front, we've got the ocean, go out the back road, and we've got the farm. So 15 minutes or so, and we're there. So pretty lucky to have that. Couple of things I want to share with you before I get into today's topic. Tomorrow for Clubhouse, we're talking about how you can use freebies and lead magnets to find your perfect prospect online. So that might be an interesting discussion for some of you. So join us on Clubhouse. If you're not sure what all the links are for what's coming up this week, if you just go to helenmartinonline.com/events, all the links for everything is on that web page. Okay, those of you in my coaching community, I'm going to do a walkthrough of Instagram Reels. There's some features that are changed and it's confusing some people, so I'm just going to walk through. So if you're a coaching community member and you're not familiar with Reels or you're avoiding it, then you need to be on that training. And I do want to say again, massive congratulations to our video challenges that finished up the week before, and I announced the top 15 at the end of last week, and just amazing job. Congratulations to everybody again. And I do want to share with you, if you haven't seen it on my socials, this is the link to it. I'm participating in a social media sales summit, which is starting on the 10th of October. This is completely free. And there's speakers on lots of different topics, from Facebook groups to community to sales funnels to LinkedIn to YouTube to that. Like, this is awesome. So Adrian Hill has got 15 of us social media experts together and is doing this social media sales summit, and it's free. You can get a VIP ticket to get the recordings and stuff like that. Highly recommend it. So otherwise it's hard to keep up, but that's the link for it. I wonder if I can get that to scroll across the bottom. Let me try that. It's not going to play nicely because I didn't do it. No. No. um, that's the link to it anyway. Oh, those watching on Instagram, sorry, I'll put it in the link afterwards. It's https://bit.l. I'll put it in the comments. No one's going to follow along with that, but that's a completely free summit that's happening next week. So I would recommend you jump on that and watch what's relevant to you. You might pick up some great things there. Adrian put some amazing summits together. Okay, so I might just leave that on the screen while I'm talking. It's very big though, isn't it? Let me see if I can make that. I don't think I can because I was going to do, can I do that? Oh, then if I do that, no. Is it funny watching me? Okay. Oh, that's the lead generation one, you silly woman. Let's not do that. Let's just leave it there. Oh dear. Beginning of the week. Anyway, it's very big though, isn't it? Anyway, I'll leave it there. You can screenshot it, type it into Google, and get free access to that social media sales summit, which is coming up next week. So let's get into the topic for today, where I know you've probably heard before, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again. And, you know, the results don't change. And we can end up disappointing ourselves. And this is not, I'm just not talking business, I'm talking your life as well. It could be your eating habits, your exercise habits, things that you know you should be doing and you don't do. Oh, thank you, Facebook user, whoever it was. I'm going to leave that up on the screen because it's a lot smaller. Thank you. Is that Olive that's been kicked off again? Anyway, whoever that was, thank you. I'll just leave that link there because it's a little bit smaller. Oh, well, now we've got Susan. So the other person was, oh, sorry, Olive. Olive's been kicked off StreamYard again. That's me. So we'll leave Susan's name up there in lights. So thank you for that, Susan. So doing the same thing over and over. So have any of you ever thought or felt disappointed in yourself and you've got a bit of a habit about something? You know you've got a bad habit. Whether it comes to like eating or exercise or something in your business, like something you keep on doing that you know is not necessarily the best thing for you to do in your business, or you know what you should be doing in your business, but you're not doing it in your business. Like you keep letting yourself down and doing the same things over and over and over again. Does that make sense? Can you relate to that? Just put in the comments, yes, if you can sort of relate to that. Sometimes you just let yourself down on something. So I'm not often letting myself down. I'm often thinking of a certain question, which I'll share with you in a moment. And those of you that work more closely with me, you'll know exactly what this question is. Or if you don't at the moment, you will when I say it. Is when things don't go according to plan, I stop and think, like, how am I handling this? This didn't go well. What's my responsibility in this? How can I change it, etc.? And I want to give you two examples. I'm just being really real with you here. I got out to the farm I pretty much worked all day Saturday, but I got out to the farm. I didn't get out there until about 6 o'clock Saturday night. But within like the first hour, Paul and I had a little like altercation. And it wasn't an altercation. It was just like, I'm not a big fan of picking at each other, and we were picking at each other. I'm not sure really for what reason, but after that happened, I'm like, oh, that was probably my fault. Like I probably didn't handle that, or I didn't say the right thing, or what he was trying to share with me. Anyway, it's irrelevant what happened. It was just, it didn't feel good. And he was like, really? Like at me? And I was like, oh, like, are we really at each other? Like I've only just come out here. Whatever. So there's that scenario. So just park that for a minute. The next scenario was, it came up last night. And I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but have any of you got a parent that is dealing with dementia, or anybody you know that is dealing with dementia in some sort? Last night, I had my first argument with my dad, and he hung up on me 3 times. And it was awful. And I was in tears and he was in tears, and we've sorted it all out. but it was a real big lesson for me. So, what's my point in sharing these personal examples with you? Is when things go wrong like that, and things don't go according to plan, or things hit you kind of, either it's repetitive action that you're doing, like the definition of insanity, or something happens and you're like, wow, what just happened there? I'm always asking me, this is the question, what can I do differently? So depending on what the situation was, it's like, what could have I done differently, or what could I do differently? So in the situation with Paul, it's like, I really didn't handle that well. Like, I kind of snapped and he snapped back. Like, what could have I done differently? All right, I probably should have said, like, I'm always evaluating those kind of things. When it comes to dad, I'm still learning how to handle someone with dementia. And there's some things that I realized from our conversation last night that I just can't try to make him see sense of some things that he just doesn't remember. So I'm always learning, how can I deal with him differently? You've got to change the goalposts when you've got the same. Now, those are one-off examples I've given you because that's what's happened in my life the last couple of days, and it's like, okay, what could have I done differently to avoid that? Or what can I do differently moving forward? Because there's no way I'm letting that ever happen again, like with dad. Like, we both cried and apologized to each other and said, let's never, ever do that again. But to me, it's like, I'm just getting used to people with dementia acting like children. Like, and I can't change that. He can't change that. I'm the one that needs to change my behavior. It's the same with any of you that are parents to kids. If you're having an argument with the kids, you need to walk away from that, not blaming them, but saying to yourself, how could have I handled that differently? What am I going to do differently moving forward? So in your business, in your life, in health and stuff like that, the question that I'm honing in on here with this training is that you need to ask constantly, sometimes every day, what can I do differently? If you are in a pattern, or you are in a rut, or you are in something which is not causing you the results that you want. So let's look at business for a sec. If you know you're not doing the things that you need to do, you need to seriously, and not just ask yourself lamely, or what can I do differently? It's like, no, seriously, what do I need to do differently? I need to find a mentor. I need to pull my finger out. I need a DMO and I need to stick to it. I need to exercise every day, even if I don't want to. I need to set a menu plan because I'm hopeless on the fly. I just grab sugary shit, whatever it is, excuse the language. But do you see my point? If there's something that hasn't gone well in the moment, or a pattern that you have in your business or your health or your life or your finances or whatever, you have to ask yourself, what can I do differently? And you need to do different stuff. Because this is the definition of insanity, is carrying on your bad habits day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And yet you actually expect a different result, but you haven't changed your patterns of behavior at all. Progress is progress, even if it's small. I'm on a massive learning curve with how to even handle my dad with dementia. I'm not going to suddenly tonight, when I go and see him, handle him beautifully. I'm going to stuff up again with him because I'm still trying to learn how to handle a parent with dementia who doesn't remember anything and believes things that aren't true. And then I try to challenge it. And it's like, why are you trying to challenge it? Because he doesn't understand. Like, I need to do things differently. I need to do things differently to make sure I fit time in my day to exercise, because my work always gets in the way. And then I get to the end of the day, unless I've exercised in the morning, guess who doesn't exercise for that day? Me. So I have to do something differently. If you're not fitting in your DMO for your business, if you're eating crap food, you need to do something differently. So it's a matter of taking that self-responsibility and not wallowing in your own bad habits and not wallowing in the things that are not going well for you. It's looking yourself in the mirror and truly not just saying it, but understanding it. What do I need to do differently? Okay, I need to do things differently. Because if you don't have that conversation with yourself, if you don't evaluate that, you will end up being the definition of insanity. You're on the same path, doing the same things with the same bad habits, and then you get disappointed with yourself that there's no different ending in the result. We can't do that. Those that I work closely with in my VIP program, they know there's 3 questions: what worked, what didn't work, what can I do differently? So those of you with a pen in your hand, write that down. What worked, what didn't work, and what can I do differently? But the most important question is asking yourself, what can I do differently to change this result? You have to ask yourself that question. And I would encourage those of you that are not familiar with that question, when things aren't going your way, to absolutely ask that question. And even in the moment, like I did on the weekend, where I had that little thing with Paul, little niggly thing with Paul, and last night on the phone with Dad, it was like, oh man, what could have I done differently? That did not go well with Dad. I've got to take the responsibility for that. You have to take the responsibility for that in your world. So if things aren't happening for you, what skills do you need to learn? What mentor do you need to find? What actions do you need to take? You know, all those kind of things. You need to work out what it is you need to get from where you are to where you want to go. And it'll probably be something different than what you're doing now. So work out what your stumbling block is and what you're stuck on, and figure out, what do I need to do differently? Okay. Just going to check in on a few of your comments here. Went through that with my dad. It's so hard. Oh gosh, if any of you got any tips for me on how to deal with somebody with dementia, let me know. It's so hard. It broke my heart last night to have my dad hang up on me 3 times and say to me, literally, you don't support me. It's raw, guys. I rang my sister and I said, I don't know how to handle somebody with dementia. Anyway, that's a side note. That's my little struggle to get through. And it's every day. I just had this conversation today, letting myself down. So when you know you're letting yourself down, Tonya, that's when you need to say, okay, what do I need to do differently? I need to do this regardless of how I feel, or I need to make time block to make this happen, or whatever it is that, you know, that is that thing for you, Tonya. But it's literally, when you let yourself down, it's asking that question, what do I need to do differently? So it may not be today, but it'll be tomorrow. Okay. Beth, but Tonya, you're working really hard at that and changing your language, and you pivoted really quickly. Okay, so you two know what's going on. That's awesome. It's difficult dealing with someone with dementia, especially someone you love. It's heartbreaking to see somebody slide like that. Massive patience, constant repeating yourself, adjusting to a completely different personality from what you've known your whole lives. It's very hard. Alan's mum was like that. He didn't know how to deal with it. It was like recognizing where they are coming from, and they are frustrated with their memory. Because of my background with childcare, I was able to handle it much better. Well, I'm learning, whether it's business, whether it's life, whether it's parents, whether it's kids, we've all got a learning curve. None of us sort of grow up knowing all the answers to everything. So this is my challenge. I'll get there. I'm just being real with you and how this sort of showed up for me the last couple of days. If you're asking yourself this question, you are opening yourself up to answers coming to you as well. You open up and receive the answer. That's a really good point, Susan, because if you don't ask the questions, you'll never see the answers. And you'll end up on that vicious cycle of doing the same things every day and expecting a different result. So we've got to ask that question to receive those answers, like you're saying, Susan. It's really, really important. It's simple. And don't just say it for the sake of saying it to actually evaluate and logically. Like, I've already thought this through a lot since last night about how I need to handle Dad. Like, it's what I need to do differently, because he can't. He's turned into the child. I'm the adult. And it's like, what can I do differently when I talk to him every day? So it's my challenge. But unless I ask myself that question, I would probably end up with another, frustrating moment with him. So it's really important to ask the question so you can evaluate effectively. Yes, Cherie, what might I do differently? I need to really ask and help myself to have different results. Yeah. And I'm going to highlight there, Cherie, really ask. Not just say it for the sake of saying it. I've worked with students that'll just say it, but you need to mean it. What do I need to do differently to get a different result? There's a lot of information out there for you, Guga. I will, now that we had this issue last night, Susan, I'm going to do my due diligence and just look for some more support in how to handle somebody with dementia, because it's not something I've faced before. So thank you, Susan. It must be so incredibly difficult, Helen. You know, I know we're going on a tangent, but we know our parents for being the person that's guided us all our life. Are you all right? Okay, just give me a sec. Sorry. Guys, my son just came out. I just thought something was wrong there for a second. It's school holidays here for the next 2 weeks, so the kiddies are home and are around. But yeah, it's hard to see your parents turn into kind of children again. Anyway, I went through it with both parents in turn. Sometimes you have to take charge and be the parent. Sometimes it's okay to let them be right. Pick your battles. That's a very good point, Ford, because I think I've been caught up with trying to help him see the truth, and he just can't comprehend it. So I just have to let that go and just nod and just listen to everything he says anyway. Totally different conversation, but thank you for your support, guys. It's a very difficult thing to deal with, and I'm just not used to it. So it's a new learning curve for me. Anyway, if you've just joined us and you're wondering what that big wording is on the screen, there's a free summit coming up next week. I'm one of the 15 speakers in the summit. We're talking about community, personal branding, live video, LinkedIn, YouTube, automation, sales, duplication. Like, it's awesome. Adrian Hill's got 15 awesome speakers together. So that's the link to register for free. So go for it. And those of you that want the recordings, you might choose to upgrade to the VIP level. That's totally up to you. Okay. So thank you for joining me and listening to this live. My point is not about my issues with my dad, but for you guys to really, if you notice you're creating the same kind of habits or the same results, and you've got a desire to get to here and there's something blocking you, ask yourself, what can I do differently? Really evaluate it. Don't just say it. Really evaluate it. What can I do differently? I need a plan. I just need to suck it up and do it anyway, even when I don't feel like it. You need to evaluate and work out what it is that you need to do to get where you need to go. Because unless you change those kind of thought processes, you'll probably end up with the same results that you always have, because we're run by our subconscious. And if your subconscious doesn't work for you very well, you've got a lot of stuff buried, you will always prove yourself right. That's how our subconscious works. So if you've got fear, lack of self-belief, you don't actively believe in the forefront of your mind that you can be a 6-7 figure earner, you will prove your subconscious right every single time, and you'll self-sabotage yourself every step of the way. So unless you have an awareness about this kind of stuff that we talk about, and an awareness about evaluating things that don't go well, okay, what can I do differently? This is not working for me. I'm self-sabotaging again. I'm doing it again. You need to have that conversation with yourself and work out how you move past it. Because if you don't, your subconscious will bring you back down every time. Little bugger. Okay, so tomorrow, join us for Clubhouse, where we're talking about how you can use freebies and lead magnets to attract your perfect prospect. Great topic. Coaching community members, don't forget, we've got the Reels training the day after, and the social media summit that is free. Jump on it, register. But if you want the recordings, you will have to upgrade to a VIP, but you'll see the details as you register, okay? So thank you for joining me today. Thank you for your support with my situation with my dad. I'll get through it. It's just a massive learning curve, like a lot of things in life. So hopefully I'll catch you on Clubhouse tomorrow. Bye, everyone.